by me. My name is Hannah, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about how to not kill all of your houseplants and hopefully help you if you're struggling with keeping your plants alive, or if you're just looking into beginning to buy some houseplants and collect houseplants. These are genuinely just some really simple and easy tips and tricks on how to keep your houseplants alive. I know that it can be a struggle to keep your plants alive. It really can. I personally have been collecting plants for a while now, and I know how hard it is to keep your plants alive. I promise that it will help you immensely. It's helped me. So here's the information that I have learned. It was weird. That was weird. I don't know if that's gonna work. I don't know about that. This is a video for beginners. This is a super basics video. So if you are looking for something that's a little bit more intense, a little bit more for expertise on specific houseplants, this is not the video for you. But this video could be very helpful for maybe some of your friends or family that are looking to raise houseplants and they're just beginning. I have been collecting plants for many years now, and I have killed a very embarrassing amount of plants in my lifetime, and it's really upsetting and discouraging to kill your plant because there's really like no going back from, you know, once your plant is dead, I mean, like, you can't like resurrect it. It's a living thing, and it just sucks. It just sucks. So let's stop killing our houseplants. All right, guys, let's begin. There are 3 or 4 core integral things that you need to focus on whenever you are raising houseplants. Is raising, like, is that, do you raise plants? Those things are light, water, soil, fertilizer. I think that these things are pretty common knowledge. A plant needs all of these things in order to survive. There's just some tips and tricks within these things that can be super useful and super helpful for somebody who is just beginning. So first and foremost, let's talk about light. As we all know, the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. Got it. Therefore, there is a certain amount of light coming in the beginning of the day, and then there's a certain amount of light that's coming at the end of the day. The light in the beginning of the day isn't going to be not as harsh. So if you have an east-facing window where the sun is rising into, you are going to get probably a medium amount of light, but it's not going to be really intense, harsh light. On the other hand, the afternoon and into the evening, you're going to be getting much harsher light as the sun is setting in a west-facing window. So you have an east-facing window, you have a west-facing window, you have different plants that are going to thrive in different lights. Therefore, a south-facing window is going to get light all day long. South-facing windows are fantastic to have for growing plants because south-facing windows are consistently getting light. Every type of houseplant needs a different amount of light, a different amount of light per day. Some houseplants are medium to low light. Some plants thrive in the low light. Some plants thrive in high intense light. Every plant is different, so it's really important to know what type of plant you have and what kind of light and amount of light that type of plant needs specifically. Just like every person is different and made differently and needs different things, every plant is different and needs different things. Might not be quite as intricate. Really big thing about plants is that you kind of just need to test things out, feel it out, see a reaction, and then act upon whatever it is that your plant needs. Knowing how much light is coming into your windows is really difficult and can be confusing and can be really disappointing whenever your plant is not doing very well and you think that you're giving it the proper amount of light. So there are some tools that you can use to kind of figure out how much light you're actually getting. It is realistic to think about where you live, how much daylight you're getting, the amount of diffusion that your windows are creating. I personally live in an apartment that is on the bottom floor. There's another floor above us. Even though we have windows, a lot of the light is being blocked because of the buildings that are around us. I live in a city. There's just so many different variables that you have to realize are affecting the amount of light that is coming in to your home. Fortunately for you, there is a brilliant tool that has been created by some genius. It is a meter that you can buy online or at your local nursery. I know that you can get them at Lowe's, you can get them at Home Depot if you're in the United States. I don't know about stores outside of the United States. I apologize. I got this on Amazon and it was like $10 maybe. It is a 3-way meter. It measures the moisture of your soil. That's why it has these large prongs on it. You can stick it into the soil, measures the moisture in your soil, it measures the amount of light coming in, and it also measures the pH balance of your soil, which I don't know anything about. So if you're feeling confused about the amount of light that you're getting in your home and how much light your plants are getting, you can absolutely invest in one of these. It's a really great tool to have, especially if you're a plant owner. If you're not a plant owner, I'm not really sure why you would want this or have this. That's kind of weird, but I'm not going to judge you. If you're feeling a little bit insecure or uncomfortable about your plants, I think that this is a really good tool to invest in, and it is totally affordable and totally helpful to just kind of secure you and get rid of a little bit of anxiety about what exactly your plants need and what exactly they are getting. If you guys want, I can leave a link to one of them in the description, and that can help you out to purchase your own. I have learned that for beginners, I think it's kind of easier to start with medium to low light plants. They tend to be a little bit easier to grow and raise just because they don't need an intense amount of light or like a specific amount of light. They kind of are just like good wherever you put them. A lot of like low light or medium light plants still do well getting a significant amount of light. The only time that you'll really notice that your plants are getting too much light, and I think it's pretty easy to notice in my personal opinion, is you'll get some browning on like the tips of your leaves. That typically means one of 3 things. Your leaves are getting burnt, they're getting too much light, you're giving your plant too much water, or you're not giving your plant enough water. Growing plants is just like not the easiest thing. Let's talk about soil next. Soil is obviously very important. Some plants can grow in water, and you can grow plants in water. That's really fun. Like this plant here is a pothos. Let's be realistic here. I don't know how to pronounce this, but I call them pothos. Soil is so important because that's where your plant's roots are. Other than taking in light, your plants are taking in all of their nutrients and their water through their roots. And where are the roots? That's right, kids. In the soil. So soil is extremely important. Obviously, you want your plants to have enriched soil, natural soil, organic soil. So I highly recommend going to a nursery and getting yourself some really good organic soil. Make sure that you have well-draining soil as well. A lot of people like to add things into their soil. You can do a little bit of research based on your plant and see what soil is best for your plant. We use Dr. Earth in my house. I don't really know a whole lot about soil brands, but I know that this one is an all organic brand and it works really well and we really, really like it. We also typically like to add some fertilizer to our soil whenever we're repotting our plants because they've either become root bound and outgrown their pots, or because we just want to put them in a nicer looking pot. Soil is very important. Make sure that you do some research on what kind of soil your plant needs and then buy that soil. In somewhat relevance to soil and potting your plants, I think it's really, really important that your plants have proper drainage when it comes to the soil. You want soil that's not just gonna like soak up all the water and just keep it in, because that can create root rot, can create problems. A lot of plants also can get pests that are not only gross to like have in your house, but also they like lay eggs in your plants and they can be really detrimental to your plant's health. So you don't want to deal with these things. You do have to have drainage holes, which are extremely important for all of your plants. Make sure that your plants have proper drainage. If they don't have proper drainage, you're going to run into a lot of issues. Next is water. This is where I feel like people make the most mistakes and where a lot of people's downfall is with growing their plants and not killing their plants, because watering your plant can be a struggle. Some people just get really frivolous and they just give their plant so much water that they end up getting root rot, and once your plant has root rot, there's not a whole lot of going back from that. If your plant's roots rot, your plant is not going to survive. And I know from personal experience how horrifying that is. You can either overwater your plant or underwater your plant, and the reflection within the plant is typically very similar unless you have like a succulent or a cactus or something like that. It's kind of hard to tell, am I overwatering my plant or underwatering my plant? It's hard to tell, and it's frustrating because as much as you can talk to your plants aren't going to be able to talk back to you, unfortunately. So they might reflect it in their leaves or drooping. It's hard. It's hard to tell, and you never know. And as I said, every plant is different. What I've learned and what my standard is for watering my plants, for the majority of my plants that is sticking your finger in the soil about 1 inch to 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inches, and if the soil is moist, let her go. If the soil is dry, 1.5 to 2 inches down, water her. Water her, give us some replenishment, the H2O, the liquid of life. Give your plant some water. The biggest thing that I have changed in my routine of taking care of my plants, that I genuinely believe has changed my outcome of whether or not my plants have died or not, is watering my plants from the base of the plant. If you can do this with how your plants are potted or what type of plant it is, definitely give it a try because it works so well. It works so well. It has prevented so many of my plants from dying. It's just helped. It has just helped me and my plants immensely. Some of my plants I don't water from the base, but I would say 90% of them I do, and it has been so extremely helpful. What I do is I get a large tray or bin and I put the plant inside of it, and then I fill the basin with purified water. If you are able to, try to use water that has been purified or filtered. I use just a basic Brita filter. That is how I filter my water at home. So, you know, give your plants what you're giving yourself. They're living things too. They don't want to be consuming all of these weird chemicals and stuff. It can affect your plants. So just as it could affect you, it can definitely affect your plants. The last basic that I want to cover is fertilizer. It's so important. I feel like people just kind of skip over fertilizer a lot of the time. but it's so important because eventually the soil that your plants are potted in, the nutrients are going to be removed, and then it's going to be very lackluster for your plant. It's not going to be able to get any more nutrients from the soil, and the nutrients that it can't get from the sunlight or the water, it's going to need to get from the soil. And once your soil doesn't have any nutrients, what's it gonna do? You can use a dry fertilizer like this. We add this to our plants whenever we pot them. You can also sprinkle some on top and just water over, and it will seep down into the roots. We also use liquid plant food. All of these fertilizers you can buy at your local nursery, or again at Home Depot or Lowe's or Walmart, anything like that. This is a liquid plant food for like a standard plant, usually like a tropical plant, house plant in general. This one is for cactuses and for succulents, more like desert plants. And you just add this into the water. I personally fertilize my plants every couple of weeks. Apart from the light soil, water, and fertilizing, I do have just a few other quick pointers for you that are super basic but also realistic and can be really helpful. So the first one is just do a little bit of research. If you already have some plants and you're confused and you have questions or you're not sure what's going on with your plant, the internet is a wealth of knowledge. The internet knows literally everything. Do a little bit of research based on the exact plant that you have and what their needs are, and kind of go off of that. There are also so many books that can help you. Go to your local bookstore, pick up some books. This book is specifically about houseplants. It has a million pictures and diagrams and all kinds of stuff. It will tell you exactly what your plant needs. And then there's books that are general about plants, and they include houseplants and flowers and all kinds of stuff. So books, of course, are also a fantastic resource. I think that there are also plenty of amazing resources on YouTube. I have watched a million videos on so many different plants whenever I was struggling with my plants, and I've learned so much. So I would make sure that specifically you are doing research based on the specific plants that you're interested in having, and then kind of just go from there. Another tip is that if you are just starting with collecting plants and buying some plants for yourself, to start with some easier plants, some starter plants. That way you can kind of ease your way in, and then once you become more comfortable and your thumb gets a little bit more green, then you can start kind of venturing off into plants that might be a little bit more difficult to handle or take care of. A lot of plants are really finicky and they're really hard to take care of, and sometimes you just don't have the right space for them in the place that you're at, and that's okay. You know, not every plant is for everyone. So start with the basics. This guy is super basic and I love him. He's one of my favorites. So if you want just some really quick recommendations on basic plants, we have a snake plant right here. These plants are so easy to take care of. They literally don't need anything ever. They are a desert plant, so they don't need a lot of water, but they also thrive in low light, medium light environments, but they can also do really well in a lot of light, in outdoor environments. So they're just really great starter plant, and they're really cool. We also have, like right here, this is a pothos, as I was talking about before. They're amazing plants. They grow in large vines, which are so fun. They're so beautiful, and they can thrive in low to medium light, even to high light environments, and do amazingly. Another quick little tip is to clean your plants and take good care of your plants. Just a lot of people say to talk to your plants. I talk to my plants all the time. I don't know if that makes me a crazy person. If it does, I accept. Really important to make sure that your plant's leaves are clean. A lot of the time the leaves can collect dust and other little particles. All you have to do is get like a wet washcloth or paper towel and just wipe down your plant's leaves, because if they can't take in the light through their chloroplast, whoa, we're getting scientific here, then they're not going to be able to create energy and they're not going to be able to thrive and do well. So just make sure your plants are healthy and clean. And then one last thing is pruning your plants. All plants are going to get a little bit of browning or yellowing here and there. They're living things, they're natural. When their leaves get a little bit old, they tend to yellow and then eventually they'll brown and they'll die. You can prune these leaves before they inevitably fall off. This can be really helpful for the plant so that it's able to produce new growth and continue to grow and flourish. So if your plant has dead leaves, you can easily just pluck those off. But I do recommend, if you're going to be pruning your leaves because they might have browned at the tip or they're starting to yellow, definitely make sure that the tool, most likely scissors, that you're using to remove these parts of the plant is completely sanitized. Otherwise, bacteria can get into the plant and can cause diseases and problems and ultimately hurt your plant. So if and when you are pruning your plants, just make sure that you're sanitizing beforehand, because it will be extremely helpful in the long run. And if you're curious, I'll insert a little clip of how to prune a leaf. It's really simple. You pretty much just want to get rid of any browning and cut just into the shape of the leaf so that it looks natural and your plant can continue to grow in a healthy manner. So I realize that I did just ramble for quite some time, and I hope that you at least picked up some things here and there about how to take care of your plants a little bit better than maybe you were, or how to take care of plants in general. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I super appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next video.